All right, what is going on, guys? It's Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we're going to go over current events and take your calls at 2244-006273. That's, again, 2244-00-MARF. Today, we're going to cover a broad range of subjects, including the Sunspot that just times 10 overnight. We will talk about that here in just a second. We will be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today is going to be a great show, and if you've never been here before, remember you can always get notifications directly from us at marfooglenews.com. Not only can you get notifications, you can also sign up for our email list if we ever get put somewhere, in the garbage, of course, of the platforms. Make sure to, of course, go over there and sign up for our email list. Now, on top of that, on our website, you will see that we have a full bibliography. Every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we're going to show you here today is going to be listed over on the website. It's very easy to navigate. You just go over to today's thumbnail. There will be signs in the sun, and it grew tenfold overnight. Once you click that, you will find a full bibliography for all of our sources. That way you know exactly where you got all of your information from. Now, on the very bottom, there is a yellow bar. That is the web only or overflow content. That is the stuff that we could not fit into the show, so make sure to go down there and check it out. There is a ton of stuff that is too hot for TV, so make sure to go check out that section. All right, let's bring in my co-internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine. By
the way, thank you to Dreamcatcher, Game IEL Oseps. Thank you for subscribing. About 8 minutes ago, Alisa, thank you so much for subscribing. Bill W., thank you for subscribing. And Steve, thank you for subscribing. All right, let's get right into it. We have a lot to cover. Remember, you can call in today at 2244-00-MARF, and that number, again, is going to scroll a second time with the actual numbers instead of MARF. That is 2244-00-6273. Pretty easy to remember, but again, if you don't have the numbers and letters on your phone, then just go over to the second one that's going to be scrolling. Thank you, the 1300 that's already here. We're going to cover a lot of stuff, so let's get into it. Twitter is ordered to give Musk additional bot account data. This is a big deal. Obviously, we've talked about this for months. It's not like I want to talk about it, but it is something that is important in the world, especially Twitter, which has a huge influence over pretty much everything for no reason at all. Twitter is what decides what happens. And I know people are like, no, it's not important at all. Trust me, to the people, the fact is, a majority of us are not on Twitter, but somehow the majority of decisions we are making are based on opinions that are on Twitter. I don't know how this platform got so powerful, but again, they use it for almost everything. Any kind of, scandal or canceling or anything else is all based off of what a few people say on this. So if those people were bots or made, then that would be really important. Now, it says a U.S. judge told Twitter on Thursday to surrender more data to Elon Musk on fake accounts, a key issue the billionaire is using to try to cancel his buyout bid. bid. That buyout bid, of course, was $44 billion. He, of course, said he was going to buy it. Everybody said, hey, he's going to be a hero and save free speech. Again, I don't think I'm not going to hold my breath either way, because if you did hear the leaked video that came out of him talking to the Twitter employees, he believes in freedom of speech, but he also believes in freedom of reach. This is something that if you are on the creator side of this, then you know what that means. That means you can say whatever you want. You're not going to get booted, but you will be put in a tiny little corner where nobody's going to hear you. You're going to be yelling into your dunce cap. So that is something that I don't like. He also essentially said that he believes that Weibo or WeChat, whichever one is the social media, the bigger social media app in China, said that was a great app and that they have done a great job with it. That app also tracks pretty much every citizen in the country. So I don't know. There's things that I still ask questions. I ask questions. I'm giving you my opinion on this. It says, well, Judge Kathleen McCormick allowed the Tesla boss's team an opening to bolster its argument that Musk was misled. She chastised them for absurdly broad requests, trillions upon trillions of data points. Now, by the way, if Elon Musk, for whatever reason, if you are watching, I just want to let you know, I really wish and I really hope you are some sort of, saving being that's going to save the internet and save freedom of speech and save humanity. But I do have questions about your motives of what you are doing with all of this stuff going on, especially Neuralink. You've got SpaceX, you've got Tesla doing power batteries for the grid, and then you, of course, have your boring company digging holes underground, a lot of them. It says that George ordered Twitter to hand over data on 9,000 accounts the firm audited at the end of 2021, which opens the door for that information to be used in Musk's effort to quit the $44 billion deal. So if it does show that there's way more bots than they think, and who knows, that audit, they might have done that themselves knowing what they would have got. Who knows if that will even be a helpful thing. But if it does show that there's way more than 5%, then he may have a good chance of getting out. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you even care? Or do you care a lot and you hope that he does buy it or that he doesn't? And then, by the way, Dreamcatcher, Christina Faith, and Kendra Perkins, thank you for yesterday. Elon Musk says the world has a bigger problem than global. It says that Western countries continue to focus on the wrong priorities. The billionaire CEO of Tesla seems to be saying. It says if there is one point on which critics and fans of Elon Musk agree, it is that the billionaire is a defender of the environment. Musk co-founded Tesla, a company whose goal is to help build a sustainable world. It says Tesla is to protect life on Earth. SpaceX is to extend life beyond. And it says the serial entrepreneur said that the mission of his two well-known companies on July 15th. It says this is because the overarching purpose of Tesla Motors and the reason I am funding the company is to help expedite the mission here. Let's see. Is to help expedite. Why is this not going off? Expedite the move from a mine and burn hydrocarbon economy towards a solar electric economy, which I believe to be the primary but not exclusive sustainable solution. Now, one thing I want to add, going back up to this quote, it says Tesla is to protect life on Earth, of course. And by the way, they say that is because obviously if they're electric cars, then the carbon, the CO2 is not going up from all these cars. And it says SpaceX is to extend life beyond, so to go to other planets. I'm surprised that he didn't say anything about boring, but what if he really does have this plan? Maybe this is in his brain, that SpaceX is to extend life and to go to multiple planets, that Tesla is to save our environment here, and then boring is actually, partly to do bases underground for when all of the rich people leave, all of the poor people, he'll give some sort of shelter to. And then, of course, Neuralink, they'll be able to, tap into the matrix. And even though it's a dystopia outside and you can't move outside your home and you have to live underground, you could always just patch into the Neuralink and pretend that you're in a beautiful field of beautiful oxygen and everything else. And it will be just like the Matrix. It says this is because the overarching purpose of Tesla Motors is to basically save the world and to stop this mine and burn hydrocarbon economy towards the solar electric economy. And it says that he wrote in 2006 when he introduced through a blog post what he called the secret Tesla Motors master plan. And it says, quote, just between you and me, a sort of secret guide to transform transportation and help save the planet from dying from pollution. Tesla has thus accelerated the transformation of the automotive sector to electric vehicles, which reduces CO2 emissions from the most used mode transport in the Northern Hemisphere. It says since the merger between Tesla and Solar City, another company Musk launched, the manufacturer of electric vehicle also produces solar panels. It says in 2021, the tech tycoon suspended purchase of Tesla cars with bitcoins after activists told him that it requires a lot of electricity to validate transactions, proof of work made with the cryptocurrency. But the billionaire believes that there is a priority, even a much more important problem today than the warming. The problem is the reduction of the world population, a phenomenon which particularly affects the countries of the Northern Hemisphere and Xi's country. It says that population collapse due to low birth rates is a much bigger risk to civilization than the warming. It says global CEO tweeted on August 26, as if to show he is serious, he added, mark these words. So knowing who this guy is, knowing his connections, knowing what he does for almost every branch of the government now, what the hell is he saying here? He's basically saying that our population is about to take a huge dip. Now, you could take this however you want. Obviously there are studies about sperm counts going down and things like this. There's, of course, predictions by Deagle.com, Edwin J. Deagle, who was an expert at these kind of things, put together statistics from all over the world, from multiple, thousands of agencies, and put together this prediction by 2025 that just here in the U.S. we would lose 2/3 of our population, but there was no real explanation of why. Now, a lot of people think, oh, that was just some theory, corner of the internet, but they didn't know who Edwin J. Deagle was and how he served 5 presidents. He was actually extremely good at his job, and that's why he was used by so many White Houses. So I just wonder what is actually happening here. Obviously, they know a whole lot that we don't, and I wonder what the hell they know is coming. Of course, probably about a month or month and a half ago when he said something about this, one of my mods, I believe it was Aliyah, said, what is he talking about? It's overpopulation. We're exploding. But I just wonder if, we know all of the information. Obviously, they have predicted that some places are going to be way too many people on Earth, and we already have too many. He is saying the opposite. He's saying that something is going to happen, and our population is going to take a dramatic dip. What do you think it is? Put it in the chat below. I would love to hear your opinions on it. I really do want to hear both sides of the story. So what do you guys think? And have you done research into this? And do you have information that would be useful to the rest of the audience? Paul Danette Bailey, thank you. Or Bailey, sorry about that. Paul Danette Bailey, thank you for coming and thank you for supporting. Appreciate the super chat. And Stephen McMahon, thanks to our great mods. Yes. Thank you to the mods, and make sure to check out their channels as well. All of the mods have channels, or they are authors, or they're a creator in some sort. So again, make sure to go check them out. And I'll put the chat up here in a second. Artemis 1 moon mission is set to lift off Monday. Watch live as NASA launches its new $50 billion mega rocket. It says that NASA is counting down to its Artemis 1 uncrewed test flight, which sets the stage for humanity's return to the moon. It says we are go for launch, which is absolutely outstanding. Robert Cabana, NASA Associate Administrator, told reporters at a press conference Monday night that this day has been a long time coming. If the Space Launch System, or SLS, rocket successfully launches, shoots its Orion spaceship around the moon, and the spaceship survives the fiery plummet back through Earth's atmosphere, NASA could be on track to put boots on the lunar surface in 2025, the first human moon landing since 1972. When you hear these things, and with the technology that we've had in the last 20 years and how crazy, how crazy advanced it is compared to when we went, doesn't that add fuel? Now, it's a super like fringe thing to believe that, there's any question that we ever landed prior, right? But then you find out a lot of stuff about the certain movie directors back then, and you look into all sorts of stuff. And of course, I don't know what to think about it, but I will say this. I think everybody should ask questions. The average birthday card where you open it and it sings happy birthday to you, that chip inside of that card is actually more powerful, or as powerful as the lunar lander's computer was in, of course, back when it first landed. So it makes you wonder, like, what the heck is really going on here? Why did we not go back for so many years? That's the hugest question. So some are asking, is this actually the first landing? And I know that many of us, including myself, think that there are already people up there on whatever that is, and that they've been up there for years and years and years. And that's my thought. I think that since technology took this huge thing up, that there's probably been up there. Now, there's always the argument. They say you can't get through the Van Allen belt, all of this. I just wonder if we've been lied to our whole life about so many things that we don't know. Maybe they put that out so other countries wouldn't try or something. I don't know. But one thing I do know is that it is argued and debated, and I don't think it will ever stop until each and every person goes up to the moon. So this is a big thing as far as this goes. I am just patiently waiting until I am able to just buy a ticket and go to space, and then I'll be able to say for sure not myself, because nobody I know, and I'm pretty sure almost every single person here, nobody actually knows somebody that's been up there. So I think it's kind of a moot point, because none of us have actually been there. We can share other people's data points and argue back and forth, but at the same time, none of us have actually been outside the atmosphere. So, there's definitely a lot of questions there as far as why didn't we go for so many years? It would make you think that the military would go, okay, well, this only has a certain purpose. Maybe we will just go up there, but we won't tell the civilians, right? If they continue, why would they stop? Why, it's because of the cost. They send billions of dollars all over the place. Just throw it away. I'm sure if there was something valuable up there, which now they all of a sudden say there is, then they would have done it years ago. A planet-sized sunspot grew tenfold in the last 2 days, and it's aimed directly at Earth. When I see stuff like this, it just really starts to cement down in the very bottom of my stomach that obviously it is happening. Everything is happening just as we thought it would. Things like this are happening more and more and more, and most people do not pay attention to solar weather. They don't pay attention to CMEs or any of the stuff that's happening. But it does say that scientists have detected a rapidly growing sunspot that's pointed directly at Earth and could launch an assault of solar energy our way in the coming days. It says the sunspot, named AR3085 for the active region of the sun in which it appeared, was barely a blip several days ago. Now it has grown 10 times bigger, morphing into a pair of sunspots that each measure nearly the diameter of Earth, according to spaceweather.com. This short GIF shows the spot's evolution over about the 2 days. It says a number of solar flares, large explosions of electromagnetic radiation that snap off from the sun's surface and launch towards outwards into space, have been detected, crackling around the spot. It says, according to this, fortunately, they are all currently C-class flares, which fit into the weakest of 3 categories. It says that out of the tiers of solar flares that the government satellites track, A, B, and C-class flares are generally too weak to have a noticeable impact on Earth. M-class flares are stronger, capable of causing radio blackouts at high altitudes, while X-class flares are the strongest and can cause widespread radio blackouts, damage satellites, and knock out ground-based power grids, according to NASA. The X-class flare, and on the top end of an X-class flare, that would be what people talk about when they're talking about a Carrington level event. If a Carrington level event happens, all life on Earth will be disrupted. If we have a massive one and it knocks down grids, then we would be in serious trouble. Just here in the United States, they say 90% of the U.S. citizens would perish in the first year if this happened and if it knocked out our grid. And the reason why is because we would not have access to fresh water. In fact, water is one of the most important things that preppers obviously tell you should have extra of. And it doesn't have to be for a Carrington level event or EMP. It can just be for an earthquake or anything else. So I hope people, when they hear stories like this, they're not afraid. They are more looking responsibly at how they can fix the gaps that are there in their own family. If we all took care of ourselves and we're all stocked and all happy, then there wouldn't be a lot of that, But unfortunately, when stuff does go down, it's not going to be good. The average American has 3 days worth of food and water in their home at any time. So that's really bad. As far as even if there's a week outage, everybody would be going to the store. The stores would be cleaned. The shelves would be empty. It would be a horrible scenario. So when there are things like this, we follow it. We usually have wages on or we have somebody who knows about this on, so we can follow this very carefully and look at the data and see if there's anything bad that is coming. It says if the spots continue to grow over the coming days, they could produce stronger flares that could barrel towards Earth, potentially endangering satellites and communication systems. For now, however, there is no imminent danger. Sunspots are large dark regions of strong magnetic fields that form on the sun's surface. These regions, which typically measure as wide as planets, appear darker because they are cooler than the surroundings. According to live science sister site space.com, they form where bands of the sun's magnetic field become tangled and taut, inhibiting the flow of hot gas from the sun's interior, forming cooler, darker regions on the sun's surface. These pileups of magnetic energy often lead to solar flares. The more sunspots that appear on the sun at a given time are more likely solar flares are to erupt. So, very important to pay attention to this. If you're following our channel, you'll know all about it, and you will be caught up again. So if you're not subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. As long as the internet works and we have power, we will be following this subject. Carrington level or the Carrington level event or a natural kind, that is something that we will actually get some warning on. EMP, that is something we won't. If somebody did an EMP, it would knock us out immediately, and we would not be able to. We would not have time to prepare. So for either one, they are very possible and very, very, very devastating events. I would highly recommend having a plan for if something like this happens. Carrington level events, again, they are something that do happen on a regular basis, and we are overdue as far as the data shows. All right, and then remember, you can call in on this or any other subject at 2244-00-MARF. Remember, you can also look down at the bottom, 2244-00-6273. If you would like to call in tonight, then please do. I'm going to be heading over and opening up the calls here in just a second. And it does look like we have everything. Everything is good. We had an issue yesterday's show, and yesterday's show actually cut out for a minute there, and that was a computer issue, but I really apologize to our guest and to our caller that had a problem. They did not make it. Only the end of their call made it. So, okay, let me see here. Let's open this up, and it looks like we have 11 Pagan 11. Dex, well, you get 11 Pagan 11. I would like to remind people, for stories like this and for everything that we're following, we follow this for a reason. It is part of the prepping hemisphere that you follow sun events, that you follow, of course, geopolitical events, and that you follow, of course, Earth events. EMP Shield is a company that we've worked with for now over 3 years. This company is the company that is actually being called up by agencies like DHS, DOD, and of course, they are on the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. If you want to protect your devices, if you want to protect your cars, your RVs, your boats, your motorcycles, and even your home from an EMP or a CME, a coronal mass ejection, then you would want to get an EMP shield on it. What this does is it grounds the signal of the event in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it's able to fry your car, your RV, your boat, your motors, your solar generators, of course, your regular generators before it's able to do that. So if you go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP, we have a grandfathered in $50 discount that also stacks on top of any sale they're doing. When they are doing big sales, make sure to go over there with our link because you will not only get their sale, but you will also get our $50 off discount. That is something that's very important to note. That actually protects you against all three phases of an EMP. It also protects you against solar flares up to 228,000 amps, far more than a Carrington level event. So go check it out. It's a veteran-owned business. It's 100% American-made by hand. Again, make sure to go check them out. All right, Dex, let's get 11 Pagan 11 on the phone. 11, are you there?
Yeah, hey Adam, I'm here. How are you, hon?
Hey, how are you? So, what's going on? You say that there's a problem hitting you close to home.
Yeah. So, I'm just gonna call it the Fetty issue.
Well, let's just say here's what we'll do
the
on
big
that.
O issue.
On that, we'll
with
hold on.
People on the street.
Can you hear me or no? Are you?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I know that you're trying to be careful. It's really the amount that it said, so we'll just get it out of the way. The fentanyl and opium is what she is talking about.
Yeah.
And most people, it's close to home for everybody because now it is a new crisis, and it's everywhere in the United States. I can't speak for other places in the world, but no matter where you are going, you used to see dopers on different stuff and nodding out in public or scratching themselves. This is the new thing. It's 100 times stronger. The death toll has now surpassed heart attacks and bang events together, combined. There car crashes and bang events. You put those together, and that does not equal as many people that are perishing from this stuff. So
let's just put it.
It's bad.
Let's just put it this way, Adam. My daughter is 24 years old. She will be 25 in a matter of maybe 10 days. That child has overdosed on this issue 3 times in the last 2.5 months max, if that. Tonight, and the reason I'm calling in is because here in California, there's nothing we can do. They're putting up vending machines for Narcan that are free.
What?
I literally called the cops on my own child tonight because she was out in public doing this drug. I'm on the phone as the police show up, and I'm told they can do nothing about it. This was sent here to destroy all of us. And we have to somehow, some way, band together and protect our children, protect our loved ones, protect you, protect me, because unfortunately, there's an addict in all of us. Whether your addiction is soda pop or your addiction is a cigarette or it's daytime TV. We all have addictions. And this is something that was sent here to control how many of us there are in this world. And I just feel like, we all kind of know about it, but this just really hits home. And it hits home for what's going on in my state as well as your state. Like you said, you can walk down the street now. And there's no lie that it's right here in your face. And you know what? There's nothing that law enforcement will do or to help.
So,
There's not enough rehabs. And, right now, this is a political type issue, I guess. Right now in California, we're getting ready to do the big V. So there's certain ballots on the table, and they're using this whole situation that all these families are going through to get the big V from one side or the other. We all got to stick together and stand up against this excuse my French, tyranny.
So let me just point out.
It's happening to all of us.
So this stuff, this substance has now essentially replaced heroin, and I'll just say that once. We'll call it H and F.
Yep.
The F has now replaced H, and where a lot of the H came from was from Afghanistan. And funny enough, right when we pulled out of Afghanistan, a lot of this stuff just disappeared, and this stuff appeared. Well, where is this stuff from? Well, this stuff is from Xi's country. A majority of it. This is a pharmaceutical that was put in stuff. It's for a super strong stuff. Like if somebody breaks their back in half or something and is permanently has chronic pain, they would do something like this. I had one of my friend's grandmother who had a patch that. Basically, this patch was so strong, if that touched your skin, she was a caregiver. She said, if this touched my skin, I would die because her grandmother had such a high tolerance. But if it touched her skin even, she had to wear gloves and do all this. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, this is this. And this was before this was all over and everybody's doing it. Now, what people are doing, they're doing it like they did H, but it is 100 times stronger, sometimes more. It depends on how it's put out. And people are just, they're dying like that. And also, they call this blues. So if you've ever heard of people saying blues, and I have I've heard people doing stuff in the parking lots of like Walmart. I heard a 12-year-old go up to this person with all broken out windows and ask, do you have any blues? And I was just absolutely blown away. It was and I wasn't saying like, as you get older, the younger kids look younger. This kid was 10 to 12 and had a skateboard, and he's like, do you have any blues? I mean, like this is really, really bad. And a lot of people in chat, I'm sure, know somebody that is affected by it. But now it's not criminalized. Everything is decriminalized. You can have anything, any kind of substance, and they won't arrest you. It doesn't matter what you have. It's not like back in the day.
No, it's really sad what all of this is coming down to, and all of us in the Fugel fam can see it, and we're prepped up and we're prayed up. But this is really crazy times that we're living in, and we all just need to remember that who we are and who we stand for. And even if it's something deeply rooted in your family, you can still fight against it and you can still win, dude.
Well, I'm so sorry that your daughter's going through that. I'm pretty sure almost everybody knows somebody that who has either been lost or who is, currently going through stuff. I know that there is an extended family member looking at prison time for stuff they did well on this stuff. It's really bad. And if anybody is out there that has a problem and you are trying to get off of it, I wish you the best luck. It is an evil thing because once people are on it, there's no off. You have to have intervention, forced intervention to be able to get off this, or you could perish. It's really bad. It's especially bad in some cities.
You do. You have.
It's huge.
Yeah, I was just reiterating that. Yeah, you do. You have to have medical help for this stuff. This isn't the stuff that we used to play around with back in the day when we were kids. Ha ha ha! It was funny. This is some really serious stuff that you need help. So just anybody who needs help, just don't be afraid to reach out. That's all I got to say. Reach out to anybody. Reach out to me. Reach out to one of the mods. Reach out to anybody in this family, and I guarantee you we are willing to help you.
Well, thank you, Pagan 11. Thank you so much for calling in, and it's a pleasure to talk to you again. And I'm praying for your daughter. I think a lot of folks that are dealing with all the crap are praying for you too, as well.
Much love, you guys. Love you all. Have a good night.
All right, thank you so much. That was 11 Pagan 11. Yeah. Randy Man says serious poop emoji. Yeah, it is. By the way, I don't think we have that in here. Somebody said Belarus has. Let me see. I don't know if we got that in there. No. Do we have Belarus? Is the stuff on the overflow? It says Belarus has changed their planes to hold nuclear weapons. Not a surprise, especially knowing kind of what has gone on with Belarus and the whole stuff in the past with Moldova and what we heard about. Wait a second, that's even freakier, because just yesterday we covered Moldova, or 2 days ago, Moldova bought millions of packets of iodine. What if they did sacrifice a place like that, like Moldova? Dex, go ahead.
Hey, I'll get it, and we can cover it when we get to the stuff, the rest of the topics. I'll have it for you by then.
Okay. Yeah. So stay tuned. We'll talk about that. Belarus alters their warplanes to carry nuclear weapons. This is 2 days after all of Moldova just bought millions of packets of iodine for the event of a nuclear disaster. Charlie Abercrombie, Sasquatch Northwest, Arizona Raven, nice to see you. Silver Miner says corn is the new gold, price will double by November. Let's see here. Oh, and then somebody, I don't know who said it, fentanyl is street level grade, is only made in country G's, then shipped out south of our border. So yeah, I believe you're right on that. Somebody else said that the problem is how it was cut. That the F is actually cut into other stuff, so people are getting other stuff and don't even realize it. We covered a story a couple of weeks ago how somebody picked up a dollar bill or a crunched up dollar bill. Just the dust on that bill was enough to take someone's life. And I don't know if they were hospitalized or something happened, but just the dust of the stuff, if it's enough dust, it will just, you're goners. Let's see here. Big Sky Dreamer, what's going on? L.A. Dix, let's see here. Jen Boyles, Drew Gibson, Bobby Jones, Joshua Rand, Tara Smiles. Thank you. Tesla, yeah. And I don't know if that was done on purpose or what. Arizona Raven, Pagan, check Arizona's message there. Good evening, everybody. Sorry I'm late. Word to self, don't pick up anything ever again. Yes, I'm sure they were saying that. There is a video of a police officer that OD'd just by touching it. I do believe, I feel like we had that on our overflow.
I talked about it. I saw it on TV.
Yeah, it was bad. That's what that was the story, though, wasn't it? That accompanied that?
Well, that was a different story that we covered in news. Somebody picking up dollars that's been happening.
Doesn't
before,
the video?
This was one where an officer was going through the the baggie of all sorts of stuff from somebody they had pulled over and basically inhaled and didn't realize that a whole bunch of stuff that was that F. And actually, they didn't say, they couldn't confirm that's what it was, but that's what they thought it was.
Oh,
and,
my
gosh. He had to be hospitalized.
Could you imagine?
He was just sitting there. He wasn't like putting his nose in the bag. He's just sitting there going through it.
Well,
like
I know,
a bag of stuff.
But could you imagine accidentally sniffing like a bag or something and you're done. You're gone. You see God. That's huge. Fears grow over tomato flu outbreak as health officials give first warning over symptoms. It says fears are growing over an outbreak of the tomato flu. As more children test positive for the illness, it's prompted health officials in India to issue their first warning to parents along with prevention guidance. Doctors say that the symptoms cross over with many other diseases, including the FLU and the CV. It says it's been branded the tomato due to painful red blisters it causes on patients. Sounds a whole lot like the monkey, right? And it says so far it's been detected in more than 100 children across 3 states since the first case was noted on May 6th. The first case was detected in Kerala, and 82 of those were in children under the age of 5. Now, further 26 cases have been reported in children as old as 9 in the Tamil Nadu state in Odisha. The Indian Health Ministry has reminded people that the virus is non-life threatening. So that's a good thing. Further news, which I didn't include in here, in my state, there were 7 cases of E. coli. I don't know if you guys remembered the whole Jack in the Box thing when Jack in the Box had, I want to say it was an E. coli outbreak in their food, and a bunch of Jack in the Boxes got it. I mean, Jack in the Box has had a reputation ever since. This generation probably doesn't remember it, but mine does. When I was a young kid when that happened. I remember it. But we just had 7 cases here in Washington, and this was right after, very strangely, our whole family got a 2-day thing where it was just both. Luckily, I got mine on a Friday, and I was sick over the weekend, but it was really bad. We knew it was something that was possibly from a food or something because my nephew, who was over, left, and the next day, that night at 4 a.m., after about 30 hours or something, he had all of the stuff, both ends just. So I believe that there's some sort of stomach stuff going through. If we didn't have the E. coli stuff, I wonder what it was. I've never had something like that where it went through everybody one day after another. One of us had it. And it wasn't like any of the other stuff or the CV or any of that. It was, and we all ate the same food. And they said it might be coming from Wendy's. We did not eat Wendy's, but we did eat Domino's. So I just wonder what the heck that was. U.S. suspends 26 Chinese flights in response to Xi flight cancellations. It says the U.S. government said on Thursday it will suspend 26 China-bound flights from the United States by 4 carriers in Xi's country in response to the Xi government decision to suspend some U.S. carrier flights over CV cases. This is like a repeat of exactly what we have heard before. This is like a tit for tat. Dex, are you? I know you're going to be on the phone here at 224400 Marf, but can you pop in on this? Because you actually have been following the airlines and specifically all of the stuff that's been going on with this. And I know you've got to pull out of that conversation here. Sorry.
Hey, Adam, I'm back.
The Xi cancellations, the tit for tat, canceling flights, and then back and forth canceling our flights to their country.
Right. Doesn't this sound like deja vu?
Yes.
But why is this still going on? But here we are, they're canceling flights, we're canceling flights. And this is not the first time. This has happened numerous times where we do this. So, the question I have is, aside from, maybe there's zero policy or other economic reasons that they would easily point to, there's something else going on here, right? That we need to think about, like what else could be there that they're trying to prevent these flights going back and forth.
Well, and it's like all these weird things have been going on, and the public thinks that everything is just normal. Xi's country has cut production since 2019. Some major things have been happening this whole time that we're, thinking that we're on the rocks because of the Taiwan thing. It's like there may be more than that even. Look at all the factories that are shut down that aren't sending stuff out. Look at all of the businesses that have gone out of business since 2019 because they're not getting stuff. People order. The thing is for a civilian, They order on eBay or on Amazon something from Xi's country, and it comes to them. So they're like, oh, everything's fine. I ordered 50 things off of Amazon from China, and it all came. Meanwhile, huge businesses that rely on these factories to pump out this cheap crap, a lot of that is stopped. And I don't think people are going to realize it, and it takes time for the supply chain for things to really start hurting. Because these big companies, they backlog all sorts of stuff. They have warehouses full of stuff. They clear out, when they stop getting stuff, they have to then go to their warehouse and clear out all of the back stock of everything. Now we are starting to see the real stuff, like the physical items that are on Walmart's shelf. Those things are starting to disappear. And many of the big cities, their Walmarts are getting priority. Meanwhile, the smaller Walmarts are now closing down. They're closing more Walmarts. And this is important because, Walmart, these super box stores, when they start closing down locations, it makes you think, and it's not even here yet. I think a lot of this is going to start hitting us in the next year. Like Elon says, mark my words, right? That's my opinion. What's yours? Let's see here. This sci-fi looking armored submarine boasts foldable wings and 12, I don't even know what that is. I would think that's 12,000 horsepower, but they didn't know how to write that, I guess. Look at this. It looks like a manta ray, and look at the size of it. That is just trippy. These are obviously digital renderings. It says, when underwater, the Kronos submarine's future hydrodynamic design offers exceptional performance, outstanding efficiency, and significant reduction in energy expenditures. This hybrid ship is appropriate for commercial, rescue, and combat activities and can easily fit 10 passengers. The submarine has a cutting-edge hull design that dramatically lowers fuel consumptions, boasts top speeds, and offers the highest level of stability. So think about this. People rolling around in these in the future, what if you could travel and check this out. Because I do believe underwater, even if you are going over rough seas, what if they start shipping things underwater? It's just a thought. If they had huge submarines with crazy, crazy engines that were able to go underwater for the, across the Pacific Ocean, I do believe that would be in our future because obviously the technology is starting to catch up as far as what's happening with the water. But does this not look like a UFO? This is going to be under our water. It says an 11-seat armored speed demon named Kronos is the one of Highland Systems' otherworldly designed vehicles. This hybrid submarines was inspired by the manta ray, featuring foldable wings and boasting 1,200 horsepower of propulsion. It looks like they added an extra zero. It says, reported first by New Atlas, Kronos is intended for a combination of business, military, and apparently rescue activities. Its interior sports a harsh, largely windowless appearance that doesn't appear to be focused on luxury. This armored submarine will be just over about 30 feet long and weigh about 22,000 pounds. Its fat wings can fold upward and be towed on a trailer. Once submerged, it can accommodate 10 passengers, including the driver. A diesel generator and a 1,200 horsepower water jet propulsion system are combined in its hybrid powertrain. So it can go about 820 feet deep. I think, though, what if you have something like this and you start traveling across countries instead of by boat or by plane? You start going, 120 miles an hour under the sea. This is nuts. It says Highlands Systems is a company that pulls all the stops for its uniquely designed vehicles. It was founded by Ukrainians and is currently situated in the UAE and the UK. The company describes itself as R&D project management horde that has gathered a group of engineering experts from the defense industry. So, we might see this in the near future. Give us a call, 224-400-MARF. Again, that's 224-400-MARF. I also think about the things that we have seen. So obviously this is for more the public to know about. What if the things that are in the videos and all of this talk now, it's been the last 2 years that people have been talking about underwater UFOs or underwater unidentified, phenomena or whatever. What if it was early versions of this or versions of this that the military has had for years, flying out of the water and then taking off? It's pretty crazy, but definitely very cool. All right, and then we're going to go to our next caller. Denise Parker says, I want a flying car. Yeah, I think we all do. That would be sweet. I think the closest will be the helicopter drones. Now they have the technology to make that, and they are doing all of the paperwork to actually have a highway in the middle. Anybody that does hobby flying of drones knows that they're clearing a space and they're clearing a highway for lower flights. And those lower flights are not only going to be commercial drones for delivering things, but that very well might turn into a highway system. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, they said we would have flying cars back in the 70s. We're not talking about a Pinto with wings. We're talking about drones that the technology is now there. The lithium technology, the battery technology is what held us back from this. But now it is here. It's all about, it had to be electric because of the weight of the motors that were required for these things. All right. And then Sean Penmanrod, thank you for the Ninja Genie. Thank you, and thank you. Looks like, who was that? M. Menching, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Also, M. Menching, really do appreciate your support over on DLive. Vicky K, R. Tate, Kimbria, and again, Jamie Crockett, thank you for following. Somebody just celebrated a 14-month badge. That is really amazing. I have to see who that was. Thank you, though. And Yobi and Steven, thank you for joining us. Thank you for subscribing. Looks like Pat W. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hello, Adam Dex. Did either one of you check out that link I emailed you about the YouTube about pole shifting? Pat W., I have not seen it yet. No. If I'm pretty sure I probably got it. I just haven't seen it. Nana of Montana. Life is too precious to be a slave to addictions. Nana, I to completely agree with you. Again, I drank in my early 20s, and it was hard with a family full of alcoholics. It was hard to stop. But yeah, ever since my 7-year-old was, when my wife was pregnant with my 7-year-old, I haven't touched a drink since. Vic, even in Little Plant City, and especially in Tampa, this stuff is a plague. I've known 4 people in the past 2 years pass from this stuff. Vic, yeah, and it's crazy how many people get bit by this stuff. I have a friend, his professional partner at his business passed away unexpectedly, and they found out it was that. Nobody even knew nobody even thought he drank. Like, he didn't do anything. People thought he was complete square when really he was like out and about and doing all sorts of shady stuff. And he was stealing money from their company, and it's just bad. Let's see here. Paul Danette Bailey, thank you. Everybody over on YouTube, remember to call in 224-400-MARF. It looks like Dex is getting the next caller in. They are trying to unmute there. But while we are doing that, I want to remind you, this whole show is brought to you by Energy. Make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com/energy. Now, again, my entire studio is powered by a Flex 1500. This is an amazing system because it can, depending on how much power or how many hours you need of some extra backup power, this is a great system because you can expand it up to 96 batteries. Again, this is something that can be modded. They stack. In fact, the video will show you the main head unit actually stacks on top of the batteries, and you can stack up to 5 in one stack, and then you can actually connect up to 96 batteries total. So this is great because it's also portable. This and 1 or 2 batteries will be most enough for almost everybody. But if you do want a professional system and have a ton of time, you're only limited by space, really. I think 96 batteries is pretty overkill. But each battery is 1,000 watt hours. The greatest part, this is absolutely silent. It's portable. It does not make any sound, which means nobody is going to hear you blocks away. If SHTF happens, you're going to want to go stealth. You do not want people to know that you have a generator because people will want a generator. If things really do go down, this would be the best way to go. It actually powers and charges via solar panels, via your wall, or via your car. Coolest part, though, I would highly recommend checking out their foldable panels, those folding 100-watt panels, because that is a really cool way to do this. Greatest part is you can mod it. You can even add a supercharger mod that goes in the middle of the unit and the battery, and that allows you to plug in not double the panels, but triple the panels. So instead of 4, you can actually plug in 12. It's an amazing system. It is extremely high quality. It is not cheap because this is a power replacement or uninterrupted power supply system. So again, you can go over there and get this to take with you to work, use your drills. You can go to the cabin. You can go camping. You can do whatever you want with it. Until then, it is extremely useful. My friend just got one. He ended up going to the park and setting up a whole movie theater setup with a projector and all sorts of things. And he let everybody who was there plug in their phones. It was super cool. But again, marfooglenews.com/energy, you'll get upwards of $170 off on certain packages. So make sure to go check it out and use the code Marfoogle. That way you get a discount. You are helping the channel at the same time. Again, go over and check them out. marfooglenews.com/INERGY. All right, Dex, let's get our next caller on. And the number is 224400 Marf. It looks like we have James from Tennessee. James, you're live on Marfoogle News. What's going on?
How you doing? Yeah, I just appreciate the last night broadcast with the dreams. That was pretty cool. Appreciated that, and I kind of want to have Jacob to analyze the dream that I had that I called in about the lucid dream, along with the Bigfoot. I don't know if you can search it through your system back then, but the dream happened like last November, and but it pertains to 2023. But anyway, outside of that, the reason I was calling, never mind. Elon Musk, when you brought up Elon Musk boring holes, and that's what made me call in about my mom's well. I live a few miles from her in East Tennessee, and her well went dry last night. She called me today and said her well went dry, and she was halfway through her shower. And the people that dug the well to start with years ago, they came out to see what was going on. They pulled the pump out. It's 100 foot down. The well is about almost 300, I guess, 275, somewhere around in there. But anyway, from the time last night at 10 o'clock, she said, from 2 o'clock today, the water level had dropped 85 feet just overnight. It just vanished.
How would it do that?
Exactly. I don't know. Either the earth opened up underneath the well, or I have no clue. I did notice that there was a small earthquake in Missouri, which is along the Madrid fault line. But there's a lot of caves around East Tennessee and Kentucky as well. I just don't know. I don't understand how it would drop 85 feet in just 14, 15 hours.
Now, and where was this located again? This is at what relation is the
East Tennessee?
And this is your mother?
It's my mother's house. Yeah.
So, does she live on hollow ground? Is there any? You said there may be caves around there, but I just wondered. Is she at risk for a sinkhole? Did that water? Go ahead.
Well, it's on limestone rock. The well had plenty of water in it when they first drilled it years ago, but had plenty of pressure. It just suddenly disappeared overnight.
That's weird. I just wonder if she's at risk for a sinkhole or something. I mean, but limestone, I think.
She lives on top. Yeah, she lives on top of a mountain. It's a mountainous area. It's not like a tall mountain, but it's on top of rock. Yeah.
Huh. That is strange. Hopefully, there's no sort of landslide risk or anything else. So, how did you guys discover this? You looked in the well and it was empty, and
no, she ran out of water while in the middle of her shower last night.
Whoa!
And it was no water. And the guys that dug the well, the company that dug the well, came out today at around 2:00, and they pulled the well pump out, which was down 100 feet, and pulled it out, and there's nothing wrong with the pump. And they measured the water depth, and it had, since last night, below the well pump, it dropped 85 feet lower than what it was at the pump.
That is super, super weird. Well, did they have an idea of what happened, or was this company stumped as well?
They did say that there is the community around here that in their area that they have done wells for, that with, around here in our area, I mean, people live like an acre or two apart. It's not like a tight knit community. It's everybody's got their own land, but got like 7 acres at my mom's house, and the next neighbor is half a mile away. But there was a community that they said that the whole community itself went dry on their wells.
What is going on? Are you guys hearing this? Like, this is really, really strange. What if this is related to something bigger?
Well,
and for them to say that is kind of a
when
big
you
deal.
brought up the boring holes, that it's like, well, I don't know. I have no clue. Well, the lakes are dry now. Why wouldn't the whales dry up?
So
but something's going on.
Let me ask
underneath.
you: the lakes that are near you, are any of those dried up in Tennessee?
No.
Huh?
Not yet.
Well, that is very strange. If anybody is an expert on this and has an idea, let us know. Put a comment down below if you're watching the replay. Well, James, thank you for calling in.
It is online stuff, yeah. But I appreciate it, and just letting you know that the whales are running dry around here. So
yeah, that's well, it kind of gives you the creeps if there's something unnatural about it. If it's natural, that's one thing, but if something's going on, yeah, that's a spooky thought to think that maybe a boring company's under there making a bunker and they hit the wall and it drained into their production there. Who knows?
Well, the thing about it is, though, we've had plenty of rain around here and Kentucky. We've had plenty of rain in the past month or two. Why would that go dry?
I don't know.
Unless it washed it out. Yeah, washed the wells out. I have no clue.
I don't know, James. It will still be a mystery. If you get an update, please call us back, okay?
Oh, yeah, they're supposed to come back either tomorrow or Monday to figure out what's going on.
Well, give us a ring next week and let us know what they say. Or at least comment if you don't end up calling in. Comment and tell us, or email me. I actually...
It's hard for me to comment, or it's hard for me to call in during the week, except for Friday nights, because I have to get up so early.
Well, James...
Yeah, but I always listen to it the next day.
James, thank you so much for calling in. And again, I would love an update.
Thank y'all.
All right. Well, we appreciate you, and thank you so much, and you have a good night. All right. And that was James from Tennessee. I'm genuinely curious, like, what happened? Did somebody poke a hole in the side of it? Is it? But for them to say that the whole community is drying up, that is what gets me. Stephen McMahon says, geez, land's population is going to be halved by 2050. Stephen McMahon, if you have, wherever you got that data point, I'd love to share that. If there's an article I should know about it, please let me know and we'll share it out. And that says either they lied and didn't go, or else for whatever reason they used some other method and used Apollo as a mask. Stephen McMahon is referencing the moon mission. It's just weird. That's the one question that everyone, there's no answer. Why, in all of those years where they wasted money on so much other stuff, they did so many other space missions, why did no one go to the moon? It just doesn't make sense. Why did they stop at a certain point and then all those years? It's almost like they were up there the whole time or they never went, right? And when somebody says that, people get so offended. They're like, "Oh my, this guy thinks we didn't go to the moon or something." I don't. I don't. I'm not saying I think that. I'm saying I don't know. But I have a huge question about why we stopped going, or supposedly stopped going, from 1972 to now. Any time period between then, we had amazing technology. I mean, think about where the technology was back in 2005. In 2000, I mean, everybody had cell phones by then. How the heck did we not go back? It confuses the hell out of me why there was this huge gap. We haven't been to the moon, just realize this, in 40 years. 40 years. Think about what's changed in, almost a third of a century. It doesn't make too much sense. There is not enough natural resources to make batteries to power 1/3 of the vehicles of the world, even if battery efficiency was up 1,000%. Musk been selling a lot of shares of Tesla cells, Tesla factories, money, furnaces. Tesla factories, money, furnaces. That was Luttrell Group, LLC. That is a very interesting point, and thank you for your support, by the way. I wonder about the, I just wonder, then we're going to be completely dependent on lithium. Pat W. Hello, Adam and Dex. Did either one of you check out that link I emailed you about the pole shifts? I did not get that yet, and thank you again. I just want to make sure you knew I got that. N Home H says, having to watch from the ER with daughter, classic time. I need captions. Please turn on the captions for the videos, Marf. I can't listen, but I could read. Just so you know, captions are on almost all of our videos, but they cannot populate instantly on lives. So you have to wait until you watch the replay. So I do appreciate that. Let's see here. I can't listen, but I could read. Again, I think those are populated automatically, but they are done. It takes time to process it. And then thanks to our great mods. Thank you. Christina Faith and Kendra Perkins. And of course, Global Witness, if wherever you are today, thank you for your support yesterday. All right, and then Dex, it says, here's our first look at Helios, laser-armed Navy destroyer. Dex, do you want to cover the USS Preble?
Yeah, so this is a new one from Lockheed Martin. It's the ones who are building the Helios, and I think if you go to the next tab, you can show a picture, and that goes along with this, so you can see what it looks like actually on the ship. But this is, they're touting this as something that they can basically have unlimited munition for. I don't think it's totally unlimited because you have to generate power for it, but in theory, it's unlimited. I don't know what the speed is in the sense of how fast they can reload, so to speak, or recharge, I guess would be the right term in this. But thinking about this system, and when you think about something as tight and as accurate as a laser, if all of our Navy vessels had this, I think it would probably make them impenetrable, at least from anything coming from the sky, whether it's a missile or another plane. If these things can, take out at a great distance anything coming with laser technology like that, that's pretty impressive. So definitely a big step for them. We've covered this. We've seen a different system. I think we covered a while back on one of these ships when it was in trial. But this is definitely the new, bigger, badder one, the 60,000 or 60 kilowatt class directed energy laser weapon, as they're calling it. So pretty impressive.
And think about the future of this. I mean, this is like Star Wars on the sea. Quite a trip. Now, when they first started popping up with these weird things on these ships, a lot of people questioned about it, and they were classified as of then. Now we are getting more information. So this is actually quite a follow-up to stories we did prior when we saw these things, and reporters saw these on ships, different. And not only this, there's more than this. There's tons of laser technology now. This also goes back to 5 years ago when I started talking about this. I told you about my sister's then boyfriend who was working on this with Boeing and other companies. They were doing collaboratives, making lasers the sizes of cars. This is I assume this is from Lockheed Martin, but their competitors are doing the same things. So I told you there's going to be these lasers on ships, and everybody's like, oh, okay, sure. I had a couple older guys say, yeah, okay, they're Star Wars. Stick to Lego. I was like, okay. And now, of course, 5 years later, we're reporting it. These have been in the works for a very long time. So, I mean, there's been different ones, but now it actually can be used as a proper weapon. And U.S. Coast Guard vessel unable to refuel in the Solomon Islands. First, before I do that, because it's relevant to that last call, Be Real B says, my sister works in Central California. They drill wells. Big corporations drilling where they lower the water table and then sell it back to those whose wells can't reach. No joke, God bless. Be real, that would be really savage if they did that. Imagine you're showering, your water just turns off or it just runs out, just starts dripping. You look out in your well and it went from 85 feet to negative 107, and you're like, where the heck did my water go? And down the street, there's a company that just drilled some big hole or whatever else, and then they sell it back to you, or they say, hey, we'll drill it deeper for you. It's pretty bad. The U.S. Coast Guard vessel unable to refuel in Solomon Islands. This is a follow-up story. It says a United States Coast Guard vessel was unable to enter Solomon Islands for a routine port call because the Solomon Islands government did not respond to a request for it to refuel and provision. It says the island government did not immediately answer Reuters' request for comment, but the Solomon Islands has a tense relationship with the U.S. and its allies since striking a security pact with Xi in May. Wasn't it, Dex, wasn't it India prior that had some ships there, or was that a different thing? We just had some story.
Well, the thing that we had earlier with India was a conflict between Xi, India, and us, and it was a different location, I believe. But the Solomon Islands is the one that was trying to work a deal. Obviously, there's all these deals that Xi is trying to make, especially with these countries that need money, need infrastructure, need ports, things like that. So this is the one that a lot of people were, especially down in Australia, were upset about. These not the ones that were being purchased. That's a different story. But but this is kind of hits close to home for them. Hits makes some strategic opportunities for Xi. So to see this type of activity, in other words, they sort of snubbed us and didn't let us port and fill up or do whatever we needed to do when they normally would have. They just totally ignored us and didn't let us come in. Is sort of a sign, especially right after the fact that, for the last 2 months, there's been all this conversation about, Xi working with the Solomon Islands and them looking, to him for, advancements for themselves. So.
It's most definitely weird. And, it also kind of shows you that all of these different places around the world are kind of picking their side of the table. So, and then we have U.S. and G warships are getting up close to keep an eye on each other, but U.S. officials worry their run-ins could escalate. They're essentially saying that one of these kind of mistakes or stupid run-ups with a few ships are going to cause some sort of mistaken escalation. This isn't exactly news as much as since they are going to be close in proximity. That's what they're reporting here. And it says U.S. Navy ships are operating close to Xi warships in the Western Pacific and gathering valuable information about Xi's Navy. But U.S. officials worry that rising tensions could lead to riskier encounters at sea. China's rapid naval expansion, both in size and in activity, has alarmed rivals and has been closely watched by the U.S. military, chiefly the ships and aircraft of the U.S. Navy's Japan-based 7th Fleet. It says, quote, "We operate a lot of ships in the Philippine Sea, the South Sea, and the East Sea, as does the PRC." It says that, so quote, "So when we're in the South Sea, in the East Sea, it's not uncommon to have our ships in close proximity to one another. As a matter of fact, it's more common than not." So putting this out there, this is something to put on the back burner. Our ships are going to be right up next to theirs. This could very well be kind of a subtle kind of hint to the public, like, hey, remember that these ships are going to be close. So if something does happen, people are like, oh, that makes sense. A Fantastic Freddy type thing. You know what I'm saying? One of those. Sorry, that sounded completely like something else. What do you think? Do you think there's going to be a random escalation? Xi's operational tempo has been pretty high, and the U.S. has been keeping track of it. Vice Admiral Roy Kitchener said at the Surface Navy Association's Waterfront Symposium in San Diego on August 18th. It says, thanks to a very good information based on intelligence, U.S. forces in the Pacific know what we think they are going to be doing and where they are going to be. And we'll make sure that we have something there to meet them or to see what they're doing. Essentially, they're saying that the Navy will pull that information back and look at it for next time. It's a very thoughtful process, and it is designed to make sure we are using the force we have and not exceeding its capacity. Now, a lot of us have said that if they were not already there, that if something happens anywhere with the Xi Navy, that it would already be too late if we didn't have full-on, fleets of ships there. Basically, there's movement going on right now with huge warships being basically right up to theirs. So this also could be, low-down cover for us actually moving into place for something based on intelligence that there is something happening. Or it very well could be just, more movement and more normal procedure. Vic says, even in Little Plant City and especially in Tampa, this stuff is a plague. I've known 4 people in the last 2 years. Yes, it's crazy how many people have passed due to the F. It's insane. Stephen McMahon, the population info available in the videos by Peter Zahan on the internet could explain Vlad's actions, by the way. So essentially saying that something is going to happen to the population so much so that people are going to conflict. That is definitely a good question to be asking right at this point. And Dreamcatcher, I hope your channel's doing well, and thank you. In the last 11 minutes, we have gained 11 subscribers. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Nura. I think I said that right. And thank you, Brenda. Thank you, who is that? Billingsley, thank you. Lee Harvey, and I can't see that other one. Chasin Paper, thank you for subscribing. All right. Let's go to our next call, and it looks like we have... Oh, and I also have the Belarus story here. I'm going to load this up while we get that put together. So this is the story that the Fugel fan member in the audience actually put in, and this will actually be on the website by the end of the show. It most likely is already there. Remember, we update the show live and the website. Let's see here. It says that Belarus leader says his warplanes have been modified to carry nuclear weapons. This is the same president that has been super close allies with Vlad, and of course, that is very, very close to Moldova. And this is the same guy who was in front of the map that showed Belarus and Vlad troops going into Moldova. Oddly enough, this is the same one that just said this 2 days after all of Moldova, bought up all of the stocks and got Romania to donate millions of units of iodate, or I forget how to say that, iodine tablets for the event of a nuclear disaster. So that's not good. Thank you, Fugel fam member, for doing that and for getting that in here. And then Kendra Perkins, Zenwen AZ, and then Duke of Stillwater. Thank you, guys. Hey, Marf, little off-the-subject question for you. You just a video on the Seattle zombie woman from 2021. You know anything about that? Just a video on the Seattle zombie woman from 2021. You know anything about that? Thanks. No, I don't, but I'm super, super curious now. Now I want to see what the Seattle zombie woman is all about. All right, it looks like our caller is popping in. It looks like Ito, first-time caller, is on the phone. They're going to be popping in here in just a second. Make sure to go over to marfugelnews.com/prep if you are looking for long-term survival food. If you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out this website because it has everything from short and long-term survival food, water filtration, air purification, survival gear, cooking gear, medical stuff as far as survival books, lighters, stoves, fuel, power banks, everything that you can think of. Their main thing is food, so make sure to go check out their freeze-dried MREs. These are packages that are essentially set up so you don't have to think about it. It has breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They have different packages, such as the 72-hour pack is a 3-day pack that you could keep in your bag. Again, they also have 3-month kits right now for $250 off. That is, again, the biggest discount they have ever done with for the Fugel fam. So that is, again, $250 off on a 3-month kit. That means one person for 3 months will be completely taken care of as far as food. Now, the greatest part about that, the freeze-dried foods that they have are really, really tasty, really good. Freeze-dried food compared to dehydrated food, a lot of people argue about which is better. The one great thing that almost nobody argues about is that freeze-dried usually keeps a whole lot more of the flavor. When you add water back in, it basically brings that food back to life, and it's really, really tasty. Some of their meals, I will tell you, are absolutely amazing. I have not tried all of them, but I look forward to trying more of them. Again, the ones I have tasted like they were made from a store-bought thing that day. So it was really, really good. And my sample that I tried was 7 years old. So make sure to go check it out, marfugelnews.com/prep. That's, again, marfugelnews.com/prep. They are also home to the Alexa Pure Pro, a water filtration system that is, I say, just as good as Berkeley at a fraction of the cost. All right, Dex, we have Ito on the phone. What's going on? You're live.
Hello. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. So, saw something on Rogan.
Yes. So there's 3 things I want to bring up now while I was on hold. which is so funny. It's all coincidence. But the first thing I did want to bring up was because you were mentioning Elon Musk and how he keeps bringing up how the birth rate currently now worldwide is very low. And on the Rogan show, he's pretty much friends with Elon Musk, and he's speaking to this one guy, and they're bringing up the topic of pollution in regards to plastic. Basically, microplastic, doesn't break down for thousands of years. Our food is contaminated. And one of the consequences and things of how it's affecting us, it's affecting our genetics in the sense of, it's causing reproductive harm. And it's getting to a point where it's like in males, our genitals are basically shrinking in time, and it's causing testosterone, and it's making it very hard. And they're predicting that at a certain point, it's going to come to a point where we're not going to even be able to reproduce. And they're theorizing that maybe that's why aliens have been, the abduction, a lot of the abduction stories, people that have been being abducted by aliens, they've had experiences where they're getting experimented on, and they were theorizing how they've gotten to a point because of plastic and technology that they themselves can't reproduce. So that's why they're genetically intersecting with humans to use us in a way for them to reproduce. Because they got to a point where they can't do it.
Now, let me ask you repeat something. Did you say that they said that genitals are actually shrinking? Is that what you said?
Yes. I mean, yes. If you watch it goes into more detail. So it's affecting everything. It's causing shrinkage on genitals, and basically the newborns that are being born, they're being affected to the point where it's just, basically, it's males. It's causing a reduction on our genital area, where it's causing shrinkage and to low testosterone. It's affecting women's reproductive organs as well.
It was just cold water, Ito. It was just cold water. That's all.
What do you mean cold water?
I was kidding. It was a joke about shrinkage.
Oh, I mean, I'm pretty slow.
That's okay.
I was like, it isn't. I mean, we drink water out of plastic. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's okay. It was a bad joke.
But it's very interesting. It's very interesting, and it's pretty true because once they brought up the alien stuff, it kind of you go down deep down the rabbit hole. But I thought it's very interesting because of what you're mentioning about in regards to Elon Musk. And second topic, you were mentioning the laser and the chips.
Yes. The lasers on the ships.
Yeah, so lasers are getting very powerful. And coincidentally, earlier today, I was watching this video on YouTube by Vox. And they're conducting studies, basically studying the atmosphere of other planets to see if they're habitable, how their inner planet cores are, and certain temperatures, how it affects certain minerals and stuff. How would atoms of let's say different minerals will react, like water, metals, and all that. So there's this place called one sec, let me see. It's called NIF. But yeah, it's called NIF, and basically they built this laser. They're trying to build a mini star within our planet, right? That could produce unlimited energy. I think they called it, let me see. Hold on one sec.
CJ Blaze says this is an awesome caller. CJ Blaze probably has done or probably will do a video about all this stuff. I know generally what you're talking about, only because I've had a lot of people send me stuff on it.
Sorry, it was they were trying to harnessed nuclear fusion in the 1970s, and the reactor that powers our sun, right? So it's very cheap, and basically, it's like a laser, and it goes through this process where it amplifies it, and it's 1,000 times more powerful than any laser currently presently available. And it wasn't designed to study like atmospheres and other parts of the planet in our galaxy, but scientists are kind of using it for that purpose as well. But the fact that they're able to harness the power where they can like replicate a mini star, that backs up your theory. And it's big. This facility is like 3 football fields, and it's a system. It kind of looks like CERN. And they actually filmed a Star Trek movie within the facility because the whole structure looks so futuristic. And I'm pretty sure that laser is gonna cause damage. If we're talking about like replicating a star's energy, and you can put that on a focus point, and then you can put that on a massive big ship that's like at least 3 football fields in size. Yeah.
Now let me ask you. So Ito. So somebody asked, hey, where is the proof for stuff of this? Is there a source that we could actually share out so people could see? So what he's talking about does not sound crazy to me at all, because you have to understand where they are going with not only the sciences of this stuff. Look at what CERN is doing. Look at what these people are doing. They're spending billions of dollars on this at this point. It's on another level. It's on where you are in the college classes at the most advanced level, and these guys do it for fun kind of stuff, where to a normal person you're like, what?
Yeah.
It's insanity. It's stuff that is, sounds theoretical, but it's happening in real life. So please share, text our website with any sites you see on that, and we'll try to attach them. And then what was the third thing? Because we are running out of time.
Sorry?
It's on what?
Hello. Okay, so it's that about the laser. It's on YouTube channel called Vox, V as in Victor, OX. The video is called "The Giant Laser Can Simulate a Planet's Core," and there it backs up all the. It talks about, it shows the facility, the sources, the scientists, them conducting those experiments.
Okay, perfect. We'll add this.
Find that there.
Dex, it's VOS. A giant laser can simulate a giant a star. So I'm sure Dex will be able to find that and attach it. Okay, perfect. And then what is the third thing you want to talk about? Because we are running out of time for the call.
Okay, so Seattle zombie women, it was debunked. Basically, the video shows this woman, and there's no background story in regards to her. She looks like she's very hurt, and basically she got attacked by her boyfriend and his dog, and they brutally attacked this woman, and they called in the police. Basically, this woman was really, really hurt. She didn't want to go to the hospital. And the video is very blurry because this came out way before TikTok. This is a very old video that has resurfaced, but if you look it up on YouTube, like there's actually a video that actually debunks. I mean, it doesn't debunk it, but there was no backstory of whether it was staged or if it was a fake video.
Oh, how did I miss this? Look at this. Look at the pictures. They're disgusting looking. So are the debunkers saying? Well, because there's drugs now that will do this where they peel off their own face. There's a woman on TikTok that said she was similar, that she was high and she cut her hand off.
Because the guy, how because this video came around the time, the video of the guy that ate the other gentleman's face in Florida and he got shot down.
Yep, I do remember that, where he was so on something that he was just nuts. Oh. Yeah,
he went nuts. And then basically, I mean, I can see why, because it was hard to get a backstory to this, but they actually found the call logs, like the live recording of the police, the phone in with 911, and they basically got the phone records, the recordings of that incident. And it just turned out that she got very brutally attacked by her boyfriend and his dog. It's so sad.
Oh, goodness. Okay, I'm going to have to watch this again. I'm going to have to watch that. That totally went right over my head and past me. So, yes, not a zombie, most likely. I will look into that, and I'll have to update on that. All right. Well, so, Ito, thank you for calling in, and I'm glad you even let me know about this, let alone let me know that I probably shouldn't spend too much time worrying about it.
I just wanted to say, like, people need to realize, like, you're not here to inflict fear on us. You're here just to keep us informed. And people are so quick to judge. It's like keep an open mind and just listen, These are very interesting conversations, the current times of what's going on. And not everything is, fear-mongering for views. Like, it's a conversation. Be open-minded. You never know, like, what doors it could open to different possibilities.
Well, you know what I say to that, Ito? Is our views, because it's crazy because after the adpocalypse, it was like we just stopped getting massively recommended, and it wasn't like you couldn't do what you could do back in the heydays of YouTube. Our views are the same no matter what we talk about. It doesn't matter if I do a crazy thumbnail or whatever. I do whatever. We do thumbs and titles to get people in the door. But it doesn't matter what we talk about. If I talk about war or aliens or underwater or Bigfoot, we still have the average views. There's no virals that go out there. We have the average views of anywhere from 40 to 60,000 views. And that, because we are growing our audience slowly with loyal people and the organic way, that slowly goes up over the years. But it hasn't ever just gone, woo, It's very hard to even get over 100,000 for us because we have a loyal audience.
Trust me. Like I saw like you go through that change because I started tuning in 3 years ago, mind you. When I first found your channel, it's just like I don't know. Ever since the V started, things got weird. People got sensitive. People started getting exposed, and it's like. It's crazy seeing that journey of how YouTube changed and censorship. But no, dude, like I've been listening to you. You're the real deal. You've kept me grounded. I've dealt with addiction, during the times that I needed to get sober and I started working. Like I always look forward to watching your show because it gave me a sense of sanity. I felt grounded, especially in times where I felt insane and lost in the world, where I was so isolated. I found a community of people, a group that are so open-minded and I really appreciate your channel and what you do.
Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate that. And again, thank you. And yeah, you'll notice any creator above really 50,000, even smaller creators, every creator, the bigger you get, the more of those videos are out, and all of us are being attacked. There's not one. Because everyone is on the opposite end of the spectrum than half of the other people. So it doesn't matter what you cover, how much you help people, doesn't matter how much good you do for people, it doesn't matter. People are going to attack. And it is every single, type in any name and you will find that they have people that are attacking them. I thought Alaska Prepper, one of my good buddies, he almost has no hatred. But then I found out that there was, and it's like it was just buried, and I didn't see it. Everybody has the people that totally disagree with them, and they go after everything. So I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you calling, Ito, and thank you so much. Can't wait to hear from you again.
Yeah, I mean, these people are living in a Wall-E fantasy, dude. It's like get unhooked from Disney and like look into the real world. And thank you so much for taking my call. Really appreciate it. Good night.
Always a humble experience. Thank you for talking with me, Ito. Have a good night. That was Ito. I remember his last call, and he's always very sweet. Wicca World says, is there a secret trick to calling in? Always call in at the very beginning of the show. Right when we go live, right after I introduce Dex, that's when we open calls. So you want to call then. After we get people lined up, it's very hard to get in. It's only if somebody drops, and then you have to go in and get in. We have callers drop almost every show. People, wait for 30 minutes, and then they have life happen. Most of the time we hear it's like, somebody will call in and their kids are doing something, so they, drop the phone. then we have to get a replacement for those. We have limited spots to get on the show. So if you want to call in right after Dex is introduced. After that, on a call-in show. If it's on a regular show, we're not, it's every other day we do the call-ins. Do you guys like that? By the way, we did polls and we have always listened to your feedback. We did call-ins every night. And then basically people found a balance. They actually liked, it was like all news Monday. And people actually really liked when we didn't do calls. Then when we did more not calling shows, everybody was like, we want calls. So now we do kind of a 50-50 thing where it's every other day we do a call-in. Do you guys like the system how it is right now? Do you like it? Is it, press, hey, here we go. Let's get the chat on. Press 1, the system's not broke. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Basically, it's good how it is. Or 2, more callers. Or 3, more news. Love to see your opinion on that. 1, it's not broken, don't fix it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. 2, more callers. 3, more news. 2, 3, more news. 3, don't broken. Lots of 1s and 2s. 3 is more news. So there's a few 3s in there. That's good to know. I'm glad most people are 1 or 2. So more callers. Actually, the majority of. Okay. I'm gonna have to look back on those numbers on that poll. I really do pay attention to these because we want to make sure that we are, trying to bring. We want to give you the most for your time. Sometimes I talk too much. I apologize. I am me. It is my show, but at the same time, because people go, it's your show, you do what you want. But I understand when I'm watching YouTube, when somebody pays attention to my time, I appreciate that. So I always try to pay attention to your time. That's why for yesterday's show, I have gotten more than enough feedback about that. We are going, when we do it again, we'll most definitely change the timing sections of stuff. But yes, got your feedback on that. Thank you so much. Carrier USS George H.W. Bush joins Truman's strike group in the Mediterranean. Dex, do you want to go over this? This is, again, first time for a while that this has happened.
Well, yeah. So now the Mediterranean is back on the radar, so to speak. And I don't know that it was really off, but we've got 2 now. So that's kind of a big deal. And when you start thinking about what does this mean, we've got a lot of forces in Europe, and having more from a sea perspective in the Mediterranean gives us a different angle of approach. And I'm thinking specifically around, as we would move our way towards UKR. If something was to go down there, that we would do something, if we would be more involved than we are today, which is just shipping over a ton of equipment. Especially, on the heels of the message we were just talking about before about Belarus and what's going on with them, with the reporting we've done all week about the power plant. And I think we've got some updates on that as well coming up. It's sort of eye-opening when you see these types of moves. When you see, a carrier group go somewhere, it makes you, pay attention because, and especially in this case, it's joining another one. So, maybe it's going in and they're switching out over time and one will be leaving, but if they're doubling up, then that means there's a reason we need double the forces there. So I would pay attention.
Well, and that on top of having the ships over in the South China Sea, do you remember, okay, I'm going to ask you, do you remember the op-ed that Xi and his propaganda mouthpieces did about 2 fronts? Do you remember that piece? It was about that they didn't think we could do what? A 2-front.
Yeah, we couldn't do this in 2 different locations at the same time.
And basically what this op-ed said, and it was they apparently had consultation from the military on this, and they said that their military basically thinks that it would be the best time to go to conflict with us because they are looking at how we are dealing with one conflict or how we could possibly deal with one conflict with Vlad over here. And they do not think that we could do a two-front conflict. So if we're fighting Xi and Vlad at the same time, it will split up our navy. And now Xi has the largest navy in the world. They're adding thousands, and they've also even have their shadow ghost navy of their fishing boats that have now been armored and basically armed up. This is why a lot of us believe that if they were going to do something, they would do it in the next couple years. Experts are saying, by 2026, or that we won't until about 2026, we would do all this. I don't know why people are putting it out to exactly then, but I think if they were to go take Taiwan, that in the next couple of years, it would probably be good timing. There's no other big carriers that are being finished. That would be a good thing to have before. They just finished their third large-scale carrier. As far as Xi's country just finished their big one. And I don't think, but they might have a fourth, fifth, and a sixth that they've been working on secretly that are done in a few months or a few years. I don't know. But I do see that they have, we keep covering them finishing up these giant years-long projects, and they're all being done like that. Oh, and by the way, Xi had all these projects that we covered from inception to done. It was like, oh, this will take 3 years. What freaks me out is that they say this was a 3-year project and it's been done in 6 months. This was supposed to be done by 2027. It is done now. That goes the same for us. We had projects that were covered for 2030 that were done in 2022. There's projects that were supposed to be done in 2028, done in 22. Why are there so many of these things happening? Well, obviously, you could say, well, they're just trying to, cover their bases, maybe. I don't know. Starting to get freaky. 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 U.S. warns Moscow not to divert power from UKR nuclear plant. So, by the way, we went by that kind of day. Friday, was it last Friday that they were, saying that they were going to do something? And it was the anniversary of UKR, and they did end up doing some strikes. It says Washington on Thursday warned Vlad against diverting energy from the nuclear power plant Kiev says was cut off from its grid. As calls for independent inspection of the facility mount. It says UKR's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is under occupation by Moscow's troops and was disconnected from the national power supply on Thursday, the state energy operator said. The U.S. cautioned Vlad against redirecting energy from the site. The electricity that it produces rightly belongs to UKR, and any attempt to disconnect the plant from the UKR power grid and redirect the occupied areas is unacceptable. It says no country should turn a nuclear power plant into an active war zone, and we oppose any Vladian efforts to weaponize or divert energy from the plant. Dex, essentially, I do believe from what we've heard from Fugel fam is they are using it kind of as a shield. They have tanks there. They have missiles there. They have all sorts of stuff there. There's active videos. And again, any video could be faked, but it does look like they do have some stuff there, and they may be using that as a weapon. I mean, they're in a conflict.
Well, the big thing that happened, and this was yesterday, was the plant going offline. And when I say offline, losing electricity. So the electrical part of it went down, and that's where everybody was sort of like worried. Is this because a lot of people are saying that there's the opportunity for something to happen here, whether it happens organically or whether it happens in an orchestration with one side or the other, or both sides together. Who knows what you believe, right? But that these steps have been happening from, we talked about having the large holes that were shot through the sides of the reactors. We talked about the explosions on some of the transformers that were there. Then we talked about the military vehicles that were sneaking in and out, and then we talked about the tanks. and now we had the power being shut down, and now the message that's coming out is saying don't divert the power. I don't know that it's really that, or is there something, are they getting, is all of this messaging coming out to sort of set the stage? Because when you put all of that together over the last 2 weeks, you've sort of laid out this really, really grim potential for, a catastrophe that everybody would sort of agree with shouldn't happen. So if something does happen there, then everyone's going to be on board to solve it or return something in kind if this goes down, right? So it really looks like it's getting hot, in so to speak, around this plant as it relates to what's happening between what UKR is saying, what Vlad is saying, and now it's kind of funny. The West is coming in saying, "Oh, well, just don't divert the power because it's that easy. You just run some power lines over to your country off of a plant like that." I don't know that it really works that way, unless they've already have lines they're already sharing it. I don't know if that may be the case, but it really does look suspicious when you add all these things up and you see how it just keeps playing out. And now you add in Belarus and you add in a second carrier coming in. The stage is, it's not just set. It's like full. It's really full.
Yeah, everyone's on stage right now. So I hope it's not right. Obviously, I've been telling people for years about this, and people said, "Oh, fearmonger, fearmonger, fearmonger." But when it happens, what are they going to say? What are they going to say when it's WW3? They're not going to say you're right. They're going to be worried about getting their crap together. Meanwhile, most of you will already have all of your water and food taken care of. You won't be dependent on the grocery store, which will be empty within hours if something does go down. Even if it's not a conflict that hits us right here, right away, it will. And everyone thinks of WW3 as like the end of the world, and I don't understand that. I've never have. Dex, can you talk about the Vlad signs decree to increase size of Vladian armed forces?
Well, sure. So, they've never released the numbers of what they've lost. And everyone always, has their opinion on whether or not they're succeeding or not in UKR and what they set out to do. But this is just yet another data point that's coming out they're trying to boost the number of their combat personnel, another 137,000. So bringing the number up even more significantly. So yeah, he signed this into decree to increase their armed forces significantly. It's one of the most recent things that they've done. We've talked about others that have, I think it was NK was offering 100,000. We've talked about the ME country that begins with S offering to send their people in. And all of these things were sort of happening, and we've talked also about like the drafts and the other stuff they were doing, and what was it, the prisoners that were released early if they would just go join. So there's all these stories that just come out that sort of give this impression that Vlad is having trouble maintaining the size of his armed forces due to this conflict. Now, I don't know how much to believe in this. Other than, obviously something like this doesn't just, this probably did happen. He probably did sign this decree. I mean, if, our administration signed a piece of paper, doing something, which he did the other day for, student loans, everybody knows about it, right? So it's not like this is, potentially coming only out of the UKR and being, Ganda, but it kind of goes back to that story. It's the picture they're trying to paint, right?
Well, it also could, obviously people think about if they are all of a sudden boosting and adding all of these personnel and adding people, are they preparing for even something yet even bigger? As we say, this stage is set. What if, that this is why it's being set? Maybe this is why there's extra movement and more ships headed that way or whatever. We don't know. Hopefully not. It's in the back of all of our heads that, everything will be fine. It will just be another Crimea where this will be done and we'll go back to business as usual and everything will return to normal. My personal opinion is since 2019, things will never go back to normal. Our planet's changed. Laws have changed. They have figured out, pretty much doesn't matter. They can control pretty much anything. And by they, I mean the people above us. So we will see.
Well, and that's a good point, Adam. You know, if it is a notion to increase the size of the forces, not because of loss, but because of something bigger coming. Because when you take the West's number, even if you go to, you know, the extreme and take the UKR, the West's numbers of what they've lost, it's not 137,000. It's a lot less than that. So this is a boost. This is a larger number than what they have, even if you assume they lost everything that the West says they did.
It's 140,000 more people. That's on a more grander scale. Think about this though. Desert Storm, they actually shipped out I think the total amount was around, and you guys can Google me and fix this, but I know at least 575,000 soldiers were sent to Desert Storm, which was, of course, you know, one of the I don't know if you'd call that small, but it was a big movement all at once, and everybody shipped out. So that would be about 1/4 of that. They're boosting it. Teresa Chevalier, and I apologize, Chevalier. I've said it many times right, and I've probably said it many times bad. Teresa Chevalier. Sheboygan. Chicago. Thank you for your support. Stephen McMahon, the population info in the videos of Peter Zalen. I just wanted to let you know I do have that on the back end, and I have that pulled up. I will make sure to add that in. I will text that to Dext. NATO head warns about Vladian Xi interest in the Arctic. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg warned on Friday that Vlad's military buildup in the Arctic and increasing interest in that part of the world. During a visit to Canada's north, Stoltenberg said that the shortest path to North America for Vladian missiles and is up over the North Pole. He said that Vlad has set up a new Arctic command and has opened up hundreds of new and former Soviet-area Arctic military sites, including airfields and deep water ports. Are people waking up yet? They are now announcing, NATO is saying, and who knows, we'll take everything with a grain of salt, but they are saying that Vlad is massively opening up all sorts of military bases up above us and even opening up old Soviet-era stuff. Why would they need the Arctic? Well, in a WW3 scenario, they would need the Arctic. That would be a massive hub. It matters a whole lot. And there's a lot of setup that could be done without a lot of prying eyes, unless, I mean, it would be very obvious, but it does say, and this kind of makes sense why all of the crazy air traffic that people have been tracking, like Monkey Works and all these sub hunters and everything that's been going on recently. It says we see a significant military buildup with new bases, new weapon systems, and also using the high north as a test bed for some of their most advanced weapons, including hypersonic missiles. That was Stoltenberg at a Canadian military base in Cold Lake, Alberta. We pay attention to this too, and every time there's a schedule for a lot of these things, we watch these speeches and these different appearances that these big military leaders make. It's crazy how many things go under the radar that should be known by everybody. But this is a bigger thing, so I'm glad it got some coverage. All right, and then Beijing and Moscow, this is another quote, Beijing and Moscow have also pledged to intensify practical cooperation in the Arctic. No limits partners, right? All right, Dex, let's quickly go through the web only.
Yep, we're down to the last 2 minutes. So, guys, if you get cut off here, make sure you go to Marfoogle Jams. But we have the rest of the story. So head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, and scroll down to the rest of the story, the overflow section. And also go there and see the callers. So when you get to that overflow, you're going to get to the other content, everything else that we put together. And when you get below that, you'll find the caller information, notes on who the callers were, or more importantly, like Ito, who had multiple videos that we ended up talking about. Those are all right there. So make sure you go to marfooglenews.com. If you don't know how to get there, open the description on YouTube and click on the show notes link. It'll take you right to this page.
Thank you, and it is now time for the shoutro. Thank you so much to everybody over on DLive M Menching, Jack McDaniels, Sean Penmanrod. It's now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro, it's not a shout-out, it's a shoutro. The night shift. The night shift. Doing everything so we all right. To all the men and women that are working at night. Thank you for doing everything so we all right. To night shift. Make sure to join us over on Marfoogle Jams, our third channel, and the chat and the show continues past 2 hours. Plus our silly songs of satisfaction to the world.